Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sajavachai Namo Namaha
So, don't see you for a long time.
Could we keep this here? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Maybe this should be here, the light. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama light Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotra Shatashi Srimad Abhay Charanaravindha Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotra Shatashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, and all glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatar. The previous light, the warmer one. Warm light. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. The other warmer light. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's okay. The previous one, Prabhu. Okay. The one that's a little warmer? Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think Prabhu was teasing me. Oh, that's already offered to me, Prabhu, so please don't offer it to anyone else. Anadi Prabhu? Yeah, it's already offered, so don't offer it to anyone else. Before I begin, I want to seek the blessings and the best wishes of His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj and all the senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. By your blessings, may the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, purifying our consciousness and pulling our hearts closer and closer to Shri Shri Radha Golokananda's eternal, loving, transcendental, loving lotus feet. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So today is a very auspicious occasion. Today we are celebrating Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra Mahotsava ki. Today is also the Tithi of Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami, and also the disappearance Tithi of Shivananda Sen. So we will try to speak a little bit of all these topics in 30 minutes that we have. Just after Krishna lifted Giriraj Govardhan for 7 days and 7 nights, the Brajbasis had a confirmation of the doubt that they had for a long time. The 26th chapter of the 10th canto describes how all the Brajbasis came to Nanda Maharaj. And they said, Nanda Maharaj, we want to share our heart with you. We've always had a doubt. We think your son is a demigod. Otherwise, it's not possible to hold up a mountain like a child picks up a mushroom for 7 days and 7 nights. It's not possible. Your son is definitely divine. Other Brajbasis said, why demigods? I feel the son of Nanda Maharaj is Narayan himself, is Vishnu himself. Nanda Maharaj, have you ever considered performing an astrological chart reading for your son? Nanda Maharaj smiled, chuckled, and he said, well, let me reveal the secret. When Krishna was about 100 days old, it was Gargacharya who read the astrological chart for Krishna. And he also gave the name as Shri Krishna to our child. So the Brajbasis became super excited. They wanted to know what Gargacharya's conclusion was. Nanda Maharaj said, Gargacharya said, Tasman Nandatma Joyam te Narayana Samogunai Shriya Kirtyanu Bhavena Gopayasva Samahita. Gargacharya said, O Nanda Maharaj, Tasman Nanda Atma Joyam te, this son of yours, who appears to be so innocent and sweet and helpless. He's actually Narayana Samo Gunai. In qualities, he equals Narayana. Our Acharya's comment to this verse, which was originally found in the 8th chapter of the 10th canto, where Gargacharya names Krishna, our Gaudiya Acharya's comment that although the verse says Krishna equals Narayana in qualities, the meaning that Gargacharya is actually trying to say is Narayana is trying to equal Krishna, but he can't. Why? Because it is described by Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Leela Premna Priyadikyam Madhurya Venu Rupayo Ityasadharanam Proktam Govindasya Chatushtayam. That Narayana has 60 qualities in full, but Sri Krishna has 4 qualities which are not even found in Narayana in Vaikuntha. And those 4 qualities are Sri Krishna Brajendra Nandan Shyamasundar. He plays the flute. He displays a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful form of 2-handed, 3-fold bending flute player in the forest of Braj. So his Venu Madhuri, the sweetness of his flute, his Rupa Madhuri, the sweetness of his form, his Leela Madhuri, the sweetness of his pastimes, and his Prema Madhuri, the sweetness of loving associates. This is something that's not even found in Mathura and Dwarka, what to speak in Vaikuntha. Nanda Maharaj continues that Gargacharya, although he said, your son equals Narayana, oh Brajbasis, there's a deeper purport to it. So this is now Nanda Maharaj's commentary to Gargacharya's verse. Nanda Maharaj says, it is the bhav of Gargacharya that he is able to see God in everyone. Because pure devotees are such that they can see God even in pillars, like Prahlad Maharaj. Then what to speak in the heart of living beings? So it is the bhav of Gargacharya. Otherwise, how can my son be equal to Narayan? It is not possible. Then Nanda Maharaj gives formidable arguments as to how Krishna cannot be God. Now this is quite fascinating. We in this world do not believe that Krishna is God because of lack of faith. Even if we read Bhagavad Gita, then the analytical mind, the atheistic, materialistic mind says, who has seen all this? Who has composed and written all this? After all, it may be a sectarian conclusion given by an organization. We don't believe Krishna is God because of lack of faith. And the Brajbasis never believe that Krishna is God because of excess of love. They have so much love for Krishna that you can't make Krishna God. Why? Because God is a joint account. He's not a personal account. At least in worldview, God belongs to everyone. He belongs to you as much as he belongs to me. So God is a joint account, joint bank account. But for the Brajbasis, Krishna is an individual personal account. They love Krishna so much with so much sweetness. They're drowning in the ocean of love that they can't believe Krishna is God. So even when Gargacharya is saying Krishna is God, Nanda Maharaj says, how can my son be God? Whenever there's a flash of lightning, he hides behind the sari of Maya Yashoda. What kind of God who created the thundering and the lightning fears his own creation? My son cannot be God, second reason, because when I am chewing tambul, Nanda Maharaj is saying, when I am chewing tambul and the red juice is dripping from my mouth, then my son comes and sits on my lap and says, Baba, please give me some remnants. I also want to chew what you're chewing. If I'm eating something, he wants to open my mouth to see what I'm eating and take a piece from there. Only when I chew tambul and give a piece into the mouth of my son, and he also chews and asks me, is there red juice dripping from my mouth too? What kind of God is he? Narayana feeds the whole world. Does he ever feel like sitting on the lap of his father and begging for pieces of chewed remnants of tambul or betel leaf? Then Nanda Maharaj says, reason number 3, Narayana is always in yoga nidra. He's always in eternal sleep, and he creates activities and worlds and universes in his contemplative sleep. But my son, he doesn't get sleep, so he needs bedtime stories. He has to ask Maya Yashoda, can you tell me some story, a story that I don't know? Because Mother Yashoda, where does she have time to read the Puranas? And what need is there for she who loves Krishna with all her heart to read the Puranas after all? Aradito yadi hari tapasata takyam, naradito yadi hari tapasata takyam, antar bahi yadi hari tapasata takyam, nantar bahi yadi hari tapasata takyam. Srila Prabhupada would quote this verse to say that if you love God with all your heart, what is the need for any other austerity? And if you don't love God with all your heart, what is the use of any austerity? So Yashoda Rani, who's busy serving and singing and embracing and kissing Gopal, she tells Krishna the same story every night. The story of Dasharath Maharaj having 3 wives and 4 sons, and how Sita Devi was kidnapped. And listening to this, Krishna, according to Rupa Goswami's Padyavali, Sri Krishna would jump up on his bed and say, Lakshman, bring in my bow and my arrow. I want to kill the 10-headed Ravana. And Mother Yashoda would look at Gopal and say, I hope you know that I'm telling you these stories to put you to sleep and not wake you up from sleep. So go back to sleep. And then Krishna would say, Maya, but this story I know. How do you know this story? Because I am Ram. So every story that I tell you, you superimpose your identity with the identity of the hero. And you say you're that. As soon as Krishna said, I am Ram, and Yashoda Rani is rebutting that argument, Balram comes in running into the room and says, Maya, and I am Lakshman. And Mother Yashoda looks at Krishna and Balaram and says, please tell me, oh dear Krishna, oh dear Balaram, please tell me, why does the Dasha Avatar find only my house to appear in? They don't find any other place. If I tell you the story of Nrsingadev, then Krishna, you say, you're Nrsinga. And Balaram, you come running and say, I am the hoods of Anantashesh dancing behind Nrsinga. If I tell you the story of Narayana, then Krishna, you say, I am Narayan. And Balaram comes running and say, I am Anantashesh. And if I tell you the story of Ram and Lakshman, then Krishna, you say, I am Ram. And Balaram says, I am Lakshman. So in this way, Nanda Maharaj diffused the bomb at the right time. And all the Brajbasis said, then how is it we can understand that Gargacharya says that Krishna is non-different from Narayana? How do we understand this? Nanda Maharaj said, actually my worshipable Ishtadev, my deity, is Narayan. I worship Narayana, Vishnu, for the protection of my baby, Krishna. In this world, we pray to Krishna for our protection. And in Braj Mandal, the Brajbasis pray to Narayana for the protection of Gopal. So then Nanda Maharaj said, because I worship Narayana, and Narayana is Bhaktavatsal, which means he is dear to his devotees. So therefore, when my son is in dire emergency, there's a problem in his life, then my deity Narayana enters the body of my child and destroys the demons, and Krishna takes credit for it. So when Putana is killed, when Shakatasura is killed, Trinavarta is killed, and the 2 trees are uprooted, then it is actually Narayana, my worshipable deity, who enters my son Krishna and does the needful. But my son is so naughty, he walks around taking credit. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adilila chapter 3, while explaining the external reasons of Mahaprabhu's appearance, he explains that all the incarnations live in Krishna. And when the duty of reducing the burden of Mother Earth, when the duty of protecting the devotees and establishing dharma is performed, it is Narayana who does it through the body of Krishna. But when the leelas of interacting with devotees and pulling the strings of prem, love, that is Nandanandan Shri Krishna alone, who runs carefree, who runs barefoot, who runs with bird feathers on his head, who runs with a bamboo flute, who runs and climbs on top of trees, who jumps into the Jamuna, who splashes water on his friends, who fills his mouth with Jamuna and comes out spitting a rainbow waterfall, playing with his friends, who runs with his calves and cows, who comes in the evening covered by the dust raised by the hooves of the cows of Vrindavan. That is Yashodanandan, that is Nandanandan, that is the moon of Vrindavan. All other duties are done by his incarnations. So when, when this is established, Nanda Maharaj speaks this, and the Brajbasis say, well said, sadhu, sadhu, you have clarified our doubts. Never again will we ever believe that your son is God. This is the sweetness of the land of Vrindavan. And this is why Lord Brahma, while offering prayers in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto, he says, my dear Lord, Esham ghosha nivasina mata bhavan kim deva ratetina cheto vishva phalat phalam tvadaparam kutrapi yanmuhyati sadveshadiva putanapi sakula tvameva deva pita yad dhamartha surat priyatmatanaya pranashayastvatkrite. Brahmaji, almost asking Krishna a rhetorical question, he asks Krishna, oh Krishna, you are so merciful that when you were 6 days old, Putana came to murder you, and you offered yourself to her. Now what do you have in your storehouse? What do you have in your bank balance to offer the Brajbasis who have offered their homes, their hearts, their money, their profession, their senses, their mind, and their life heir to you? Krishna, you are bankrupt. You are in debt because you have nothing to reciprocate with the Brajbasis who have offered themselves to you while you offered yourself to Putana. This is the sweet land of Vrindavan. Aho bhagyam nanda gopa prajaukasam yan mitram paramanandam purnam brahma sanatanam. This is why Lord Brahma, also while offering prayers in the 14th chapter, he tells Krishna, Krishna, the Brajbasis are very fortunate to have you as their friend. And Krishna, you are equally fortunate to have the Brajbasis as your family. Because Krishna, you don't get this fortune everywhere. In Vaikuntha, everyone's offering pranam to you. You can't keep your hand around anyone's shoulder. In Dwarka, you may, but they still offer obeisances to you. In Mathura, there is still sweetness, much more sweetness than Dwarka and Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, there's so much opulence, very little sweetness. In Dwarka, little more sweetness. In Mathura, even more sweetness. But in Braj, complete sweetness. So much so that again and again, opulence makes it show and raises its head, but it's subdued and submerged by the wave currents of Krishna's sweetness. This is why Krishnonyo yadusambhuto yapurno sosthyataparaha Vrindavanam parityajya sa kvachinnaiva gacchati. Sri Rup Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita establishes we all love to be in a place where we are most loved, not because of our position, but because of who we are. This is why Krishna never wants to leave Braj. Just like we don't want to leave a place where we are loved. Where do we get that tendency from? From our master, who never wants to leave that place where he's supremely loved. Shastra never says, Krishna never leaves Vaikuntha, Krishna never leaves Dwaraka, Krishna never leaves Mathura, but the Shastra definitely says, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. And the Brajbasis never leave Vrindavan. For rasa to manifest in its full potency, 4 ingredients are needed. Krishna, the Brajbasis, ultimately Krishna, Radharani, Gopis and Vrindavan. If not, at least Krishna, Brajbasis and Vrindavan. These ingredients must be there for rasa to manifest completely. Where Krishna forgets that he's God, and the Brajbasis forget that Krishna is God, and God gives up his godhood and plays completely oblivious to the world and the creation and all other duties. He's sleeping on the lap of Maya Yashoda. He's stealing butter from the neighbor's house. He's eating dirt in his front yard. He's speaking lies. He's crying. He's getting lusty. He's getting greedy. He's getting envious, irrespective of what the Purusha Sukta and the Sri Sukta and the Vedas proclaim. Quite amazing. Krishna gets cranky when he doesn't get his mother's milk. Then he gets greedy and breaks all the pots of butter with anger. And then he gets fearful and runs when his Maya chases him with a stick. In which theology do you find God going through emotions, those emotions which land us in hell? It's unbelievable. This is Vrindavan, which makes Krishna a stuffed toy. This is the glory of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Therefore, in Sri Gopal Champu, in the first chapter, while describing Vrindavan, Sri Jiva Goswami Pad says, if you want liberation, please don't go to Vrindavan. If you want liberation, go to Kashi. Go to other places. You can't get liberated in Vrindavan. Why? Because Vrindavan is the land of bondage. It is the land which binds even God within its territory. Krishna, who gives liberation to the whole world, gets bound in Vrindavan, then what to speak of Jivas? Therefore, we find, however conditioned we may be, when we go to Vrindavan, something happens in our heart. Something happens. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu, a beloved disciple of Srila Prabhupada, would say that while leaving Vrindavan, if your heart is not melting and tears are not brimming down, gliding down your cheeks from your eyes, then I'm sorry, Prabhu. Ayendra Prabhu would say, I'm sorry, Prabhu. If tears are not dripping down your cheeks while leaving Vrindavan, you were never in Vrindavan. This land is so wonderful that Sri Rupa Goswami Pad writes, when Akrura entered this land like a Yamaduta, Kamsa, like Yamaraj, sent a Yamaduta called Akrura with his chariot, which became a noose. And just like the Yamadutas mercilessly pull the soul away from the body, it's hurting for the soul, hurting for the body, hurting for the relatives. Still the Yamadutas don't care. And they come, they do their duty and go away out of their allegiance and loyalty to Yamaraj. So similarly, Sri Rupa Goswami Pad writes in his Natakam, in his drama, he says, Labdha Brahmena Harata Harisharvarisham Vinyasta Viraha Klamakala Kutam Ha Gandhini Tanaya Mandara Bhudarena Vikshobita Prutula Gokula Sagaroyam. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad writes, alas, alas, alas. Akrura must have read the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is described that you can throw in a mountain in the middle of a milk ocean and churn that mountain and cause poison to rise, and as a result, pull the moon out of the ocean. What does this mean? Rupa Goswami is writing in poetry that Akrura came in like the mountain, the Mandara mountain, which caused the churning of the milk ocean of Vrindavan. Because when Akrura came, everyone's heart started to churn. And just like when the mountain was thrown in the middle of the milk ocean, and by its churning, the moon came out and poison spread in all directions, Rupa Goswami Pad writes, Akrura became the mountain and thrown in by Kamsa in the milk ocean of Vrindavan, churning the hearts of the Brajbasis, pulling Krishna, the moon of Braj, away from the ocean and spreading the poison of separation for all time to come. Poetry at its best. Rupa Goswami Pad writes that when the milk ocean was churned, the poison came out, and lo and behold, Lord Shiva could drink it. But this poison of separation from Krishna was so toxic that even Lord Shiva's heart was affected by the spreading of this poison. Gopeshwar Mahadev, even till today, drops tears of separation, seeing the pastime of Akrura taking Krishna away from his hometown. Krishna spent 10 years and 7 months in Vrindavan, and then another 18 years in Mathura, and then another 100 years in Dwaraka. When Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, he was 96 years old, with sons and grandsons and great-grandsons. Srila Prabhupada writes, but Nitya Nava Navayamanam, Krishna Adhyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha, still looks as fresh as 16 years old on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Krishna was already over, close to 100 years when he was speaking the Bhagavad Gita. So close to 100 years of separation from the Brajbasis. And then we find, during the solar eclipse occasion, Krishna wrote a letter to the Brajbasis. Krishna, when he came to Mathura and came to Dwaraka, the Brajbasis wanted to meet him and he wanted to meet them. But alas, there were always constant obstacles between the two. When Krishna left Vrindavan and came to Mathura, Vasudev Maharaj immediately sent Krishna to Sandipani Muni to study. Because Vasudev Maharaj told Krishna, enough of playing. You are a Kshatriya. You are not a Vaishya. Don't think that you're the son of Nanda Maharaj. I was the one who took you there. You are my son. You have to become a king, a Kshatriya in the future. And no Kshatriya in his childhood runs around with cows and calves, jumping on trees, jumping into the Yamuna, climbing trees, eating fruits, decorating his face, carefree running in the forest. Enough of playing. Vacation time is over. Now it's time for you to study. Krishna was sent to Avantipur, the present-day Ujjain, to Sandipani Muni. By then the Brajbasis came to Mathura. They couldn't find Krishna. They went back very morose. By then Krishna finished his education and came back to Mathura. Now the Brajbasis are thinking, we want to go back and find Krishna. Alas, alas, by then Krishna moves to Dwaraka. It is quite amazing. In the middle of all this, when the Brajbasis set out, Nanda Maharaj says, he has promised he will return. Stay put. And by then, they still want to come to meet Krishna. Krishna sends Uddhav as a messenger. So many wonderful, intricate movements of emotions where the Brajbasis couldn't come and meet Krishna, and Krishna couldn't come and meet the Brajbasis. 100 years of separation where they didn't forget each other. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would say that Krishna would toss and turn in Dwaraka. Even on his bed, when Krishna has Satyabhama and Jambavati and Rukmini and Nagnajiti and Lakshmana and Mitravinda and so many beautiful queens, Krishna would toss and turn in the bed saying, Radhe, Radhe, Gopi, Gopi, oh Maya, oh Nanda Baba. Remembering Vrindavan, Krishna would toss and turn. There's a saying, you can take a Brajbasi out of Vrindavan, but you can't take Vrindavan out of the heart of a Brajbasi. So Krishna was pulled out of Vrindavan, but Vrindavan still remained in his heart. Nothing else mattered to him. So much so that a new Vrindavan had to be constructed in Dwaraka. A new Vrindavan had to be constructed in Dwaraka by Vishwakarma, which was called Navavraja. And taking this mood, Srila Prabhupada in the Dwaraka of America created new Vrindavan. So that we, while living here, still remember Sri Vrindavan, like how Krishna living in Dwaraka remembered Braj. So after all of these high tides of emotions, when the solar eclipse took place, Krishna wrote a letter to the Brajbasis and said, it's been a long time, we haven't met. You have tried to come to me, I have tried to come to you, but alas, we haven't been able to. Now is a golden opportunity. It's the solar eclipse time. And everyone's meeting at Kurukshetra because that's the place. Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is considered Dharma Kshetra even before Bhagavad Gita was spoken. In the first verse of Bhagavad Gita. Which means it's been an age-old traditional place where even Parshuram performed his austerity. And there's Brahma Kund even today. So the tradition is during the lunar or the solar eclipse in Krishna Leela, and lunar eclipse during the start of Gaura Leela, before the appearance of Mahaprabhu. During the eclipse time, the tradition is you go to a sanctified place and you purify by bathing in the kunds there, the water ponds there. So Krishna invited the Brajbasis. The Brajbasis came face to face. Of course, in the interest of time, we're coming to the chase, cut to the chase, taking other details away. Krishna comes face to face with the Brajbasis, where there are Dwarkavasis, there are Mathuravasis, all great kings and ministers and associates. They assemble at Kurukshetra, and there is Krishna. And the Brajbasis look at Krishna. Nanda Baba, Maya Yashoda, they all look at Krishna after 100 years of separation. Did they forget Krishna? No, never. Rupa Goswami Pad writes, Sarvato Dhvamsa Rahitam, Satyapi Dhvamsa Karane, Yad Bhava Bandhanam Yuno, Sa Prema Parikirtitaha. The definition of love of Godhead is, even when there are millions and millions of roadblocks and millions of speed breakers and glitches and obstacles and hindrances, love doesn't reduce, it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Rupa Goswami Pad gives a brilliant example. He says, love of Godhead in the heart of the Brajbasis is like the roaring of a lion. And every obstacle on their path is a mighty elephant. What happens when a mighty elephant comes face to face with a lion? The lion eats up the elephant only to get stronger. So the love of the Brajbasis is like the roaring of a lion, and every obstacle is a mighty elephant that they completely devour, and that love of the Brajbasis goes higher and higher and deeper and stronger and stronger. Sri Radharani looks at Krishna at Kurukshetra and she tells Krishna, "Oh Sri Krishna, these are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. You are the same Krishna, I am the same Radha, but somehow my heart is not very happy here because you are covered with armor. Krishna, where is your lotus navel? You are covered with ornaments. Where is your forest flower garland? You are covered with weapons. Where is your flute? You are adorned with a crown. Where is your peacock feather? You are running with elephants and horses here on chariots. Where are the cows and calves of Braj? You have golden shoes. Where are the imprints of the signs and symbols of the sole of your soft lotus feet in the dust of Braj?" Radharani told Krishna, "These may be the same moonlit nights of Chaitra. You may be the same Krishna, I may be the same Radha, but my heart yearns to take you back under the moonlit nights of Sharad Purnima, under the shade of the Kadamba tree on the banks of Jamuna, because Vrindavan, without Vrindavan, rasa cannot manifest." Therefore, putting Krishna on the chariot of her heart, Sri Radharani closed her eyes and with ropes of love in her heart, she pulled Krishna to Vrindavan. Although externally she can't because Krishna is surrounded by the Dwarkavasis, Radharani put Krishna on the chariot of her heart and with ropes of love pulled him to Vrindavan, telling Krishna, "Krishna, you don't belong to Mathura, Dwaraka or anywhere else like Kurukshetra. You only belong to Vrindavan. You may be called as the Lord of this world as Jagannath, but don't you forget you are Brajanath, more specifically Gopinath, more specifically Radhanath." So Radharani pulled Krishna by taking Krishna on the chariot of her heart. But alas, alas, the world couldn't see this. The world couldn't see this, but Krishna realized it because Krishna is sitting as Paramatma. So now, when Krishna became Sri Radha and came in this world as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Jagannath Puri, which was none different from Kurukshetra, Krishna became Gauranga with the complexion and the bhav of Sri Radharani, who was looking at Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at Jagannath. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would call this as eye-to-eye union. Eye-to-eye union. Radharani is looking at Sri Krishna at Kurukshetra as Radha. But now Krishna is relishing that same mood, becoming Radha as Chaitanya, looking at himself as Jagannath. And now he physically put Krishna on the physical chariot, which is the chariot of Radha's heart, and pulled with the ropes of Radha Prem, Radha Bhava, Dyuti Suvalitam, Naumi Krishna Swarupam, pulling Krishna of Vrindavan, who is temporarily in Dwaraka, back to Vrindavan, and Mahaprabhu needs help. As Radharani needs help, Mahaprabhu needs help. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada introduced this festival to the whole world. And now when we come in Jagannath Rath Yatra, although it's a preaching event, it's an external event of outreach and sharing Jagannath with the whole world, it's also an in-reach as much as it's an outreach. Because when we look at Jagannath, we have the fortune by Srila Prabhupada's mercy to participate in Gaura Leela, which is entrance into Radharani's Krishna Leela at Kurukshetra, pulling Krishna of Braj, who happens to be in Dwaraka as Jagannath, pulling him with ropes of love, assisting Mahaprabhu, assisting Radharani by placing Krishna on the chariot of our hearts to pull Krishna into the realm of Braj once and for all. This is the heart of the Rath Yatra festival. Swarup Damodar Goswami assisted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by understanding the heart sentiments of the verses that Mahaprabhu sang in the Rath Yatra Prasanga. He was the only one who understood, apart from Sri Rupa Goswami. Writes Kaviraj Goswami in the first chapter of Madhya Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita that nobody except Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami understood the inner purports of Mahaprabhu's pangs of feelings of love for Jagannath as Radharani felt for Krishna. Surely enough, because Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai are Lalita and Vishakha. And to assist this whole festival, Shivananda Sen, whose tithi also we celebrate today, he would arrange the journey, the trip, the yatra of so many Vaishnavas from Bengal, from different parts of Bengal to Jagannath Puri, 1 month before the Chaturmas, the 4 months, to bring them to Jagannath Puri. It was Shivananda Sen who paid for the tolls, who arranged for the tents, for the prasadam, for the journey, giving everyone entrance into Gaura Leela and through Gaura Leela into Krishna Leela. So today is an opportune moment for all of us to absorb our consciousness in Rath Yatra Prasanga. Today also happens to be the appearance Vyasa Puja celebration of my beloved Guru Maharaj. So it also becomes very personally relishable